So this video I did this morning was made because I'm on Jilly Juice. And the whole point of Jilly Juice is to release the emotional triggers that have programmed the visceral gut reactions that have programmed our body, mind, and spirit. Come on, sugar, up here. That have programmed our body, mind, and spirit and causes us to react to things, causes us to have reactions like cancer, disease, and chronic illness, emotional reactions to people, places, and things, accepting things that we shouldn't accept because of the programming of our visceral gut reactions and the words that are used upon us to have us act in a specific way. And so the whole point of Jilly Juice is to release those emotional triggers, is to get your biochemistry so well balanced that nobody can manipulate you into anything that your gut knows is not right. Because I have had reactions to people, places, and things, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't articulate why I had this reaction. Because it's a programming that you're not even aware of. It's a programming that starts out when you are a baby, when you're in the womb. And then that carries over into everything that you do, and then it gets reinforced by the media, by your parents, by your friends, by the people that you surround yourself with. And so people aren't even aware of how they operate in the world because it's such a visceral gut reaction, and they have names for those specific visceral gut reactions like love and hate, racism. All the adjective words are words that are used to explain and sell with a purpose behind it, with an intention behind it. And so then when you're doing the Jilly Juice and then you start reading articles and you're listening to verbiage, you then start seeing the programming behind what people say, behind what people do, behind what's written. And then you'll be able to separate fact from fiction. Because it's not just what you focus on or what you don't focus on. Because you can focus on things and reprogram it. Simply avoiding things is not the answer. It's reprogramming your relationship to things is what is the answer. Because I can go to a party and have all of this PTSD about the people at the party and how I act in a party, but then I can also drive the intention. What is my intention when I go to a party? What's my intention when I go into a classroom? What's my intention when I talk to a person? But if you're not even aware of your own intentions, you'll use words that you've been programmed to use because of your training, whatever it is, and then you will unconsciously drive some kind of reality that is an agenda that you have and a purpose that you have. And it's not something that may be healthy. I don't know. It's not for me to decide what people should do. That's why understanding how words can create worlds have so much meaning. And so when you realize that it's just a fact is like, this is a house. How you then characterize that house is now the intention, your purpose to sell. And so that's the thing with the J juice is that you're releasing all of those emotional triggers to words to where now you're aware of how you're trying to program yourself as well as people around you instead of reprogramming in a different way. And so people can trade, one addiction for the other. Okay, so you don't like the educational system. So now you want your own different educational system, but you're going to reprogram people in a different way that still has the same intention to program them to then cater to your belief system, to your thing. And the people don't develop their own because now you're using words to then reprogram them into something else because they're not happy over here. And so therefore you have something they're going to be happy with whatever program that you want to put onto them. And that's so different than what people do out there with charter schools. There's a charter school for arts, there's a charter school for sports, there's a charter school for academics, there are charter schools for religion. And so all you're doing is just trading intentions. So now it's giving people the option to figure out what it is that they want without your influence. And so that's why the J juice is so important to do in conjunction with whatever you're doing, because that will help people differentiate between your intention and their purpose. And that is what's about mind control is you have an intention and the people have a purpose. They don't even know what their purpose is. And so if they don't know their own purpose, they'll adopt your purpose. And maybe your purpose is really not appropriate for them. And that's the thing about JJ's, is so profound that people are not going to get unless they're on it, because you have to release and balance out your body, mind, and spirit. Not just do a diet and do a detox or go and change your school to go from this school to that school. It's about real, profound, deep cellular change, to where you first have to deal with your body first. And then it's going to change the way you think, your mind. And then your spirit's going to be balanced out. And then you're going to realize that you have imprisoned yourself by trading one programming for another. And then people really don't, I didn't know what my purpose was. I thought, I want to change the world, but in what way and how? Well, the only way to change the world is change myself. It's not trading one addiction for the other or trading one programming for another. It's really developing myself to figure out what my intention is. First, my intention right now for the world is to uncover the programming, the mind control hidden in the English language and in linguistics in general. And then give people those tools to understand how they've programmed themselves, and they're also how they've programmed other people to fit their purpose, and not allowing a person to have an individual purpose. Because when you start programming other people into your way of thinking, how is that any different than the educational system? How is your way better than somebody else's way? So then it comes down to the laws of life and death. Are you following the laws of life, or are you following the laws of death? And that's where the whole thing with antibiotics and antivirals and anti-parasitics is completely the antithesis of life. It's anti-life, anti-inflammatory, anti-life. So if you're teaching antibiotics and anti-protocol or anti-parasitics and antifungals and anti-inflammatories, and then you're trying to promote life, you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, and you're sending off mixed messages. And that's when people have a gut reaction about what you're doing. And some have a gut reaction because they believe in death, but they say they believe in life. And then you're talking about life, indefinite life, and people trip out because it goes against their preconceived notion of what life is. They think life is death. So no matter what, the laws of life and the laws of death and the laws of the land have to be the actual foundation, the substantiation. Facts have to be the substantiation. How you dress up the facts is based upon your intention and your purpose. So when someone is a realtor and they're selling a house, you're not going to sell a house by saying this is just a house. It's located in Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan. And there's a lake down the street. When you give no description to any of the nouns, it's like big fucking deal. What gets people to act is the adjectives. It's all the descriptive words, the selling words, the mind control words. Because facts alone are not going to get people to move unless they're looking for a fact. Does antibiotics anti-life? Yes, it is. But then when the holistic industry goes, oh yeah, antibiotics are great, that's someone trying to sell you death. That's where the disconnect is in the holistic world. Oh yeah, antibiotics are great, they're healing. Anti-inflammatories are great, they're healing. These detoxes that are full of heavy metals that are causing imbalance, they're so great and they're so healing. And that is the deception of the holistic and the allopathic world. Oh yeah, don't go to this education, go to this education. I'll have a whole new program for you. I'll program your mind in this way because you didn't like this programming, so I'm going to give you a different program. Well, who are you to say that your program is good for them? Who are you to say that's better? Just simply unifying people is not the answer. What about indefinite life? Just by nature, when you actually speak about indefinite life, it means that somebody is already unified in body, mind, and spirit. And in turn, they will accept whatever's out there because you know you're going to have life and death at the micro level because you're always going to be subject to the fluctuations of your environment. There's going to be, an autophagy. There's going to be a peptosis that goes on in your body, but you won't die at the macro level. You won't need to reproduce. You won't need to do tantric sex. You won't need to do all these different things that want to separate yourself and sell people on your physical characteristics, your visceral gut reactions. The fact that you can procreate, you're not trying to sell people on that. You're selling people on that indefinite life, and that by nature is unification. But when you try to say, oh yeah, I want to unify the world by programming you into this way, you're going to speak out both sides of your mouth because people are not going to understand that if they don't understand a body, mind, and spirit. And you can sell all your pills, powders, and supplements and detoxes and call it, healing and accept death, but then you're being deceptive. So first, foremost, before you program anybody into a line of thought as far as indefinite life, they have to understand body, mind, and spirit and the laws of life. Not the selling points of the holistic allopathic world, or how, antibiotics are great. They promote life. No, they don't, because antibiotic in of itself, that word is anti-life. It does not promote life. Anti-parasitic does not promote your microbiome. Antifungal does not promote your microbiome. And if your microbiome is made up of viruses, antivirals do not support your microbiome. So viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, and fungus and bacteria are part of your microbiome. And if you are taking things and doing things that are anti that, then you are anti-life. How could you possibly be for life? And then this is where the disconnect is. And this is why people have visceral gut reactions when people talk about the different remedies that are out there, because they know innately it's actually bad for them. But they can't put their finger on, just like I couldn't put my finger on why it is I had an issue with people in my family, because they never respected me on the micro and the macro level. They had an agenda to program me in a specific way, and I resisted that programming. And then I figured out what it was. They wanted me to so subjective to cater to the subjective society, to the division, to the death of our society, and I'm not for that. And so when I noticed that my family was funding terrorism, funding Antifa, that really put me over the edge. Because why would you fund somebody who is destroying your community? Oh, hell no. So pay attention to your gut reactions to anything and figure out, are you following the laws of life? Are you following the laws of death? Why do you have a visceral gut reaction to certain people, places, and things? And maybe you've been programmed to. You don't want to hear someone talk about indefinite life. Okay? So I'm becoming now very, very clear on how the English language is used and linguistics are used to program people. And then all the PTSD around the words and the traumas. And then trading one addiction for the other. Oh, you don't like education in the system, but you'll go and educate people in a different way. Another programming. Well, what's the point of trading one for the other if you haven't gotten to the root cause, which is an imbalanced biochemistry, body, mind, and spirit? And that means that you really have to see what indefinite life actually means. Not these temporary solutions that you see all over the place, but what is indefinite life? Because that is true unification. When you unify your own body, mind, and spirit. Not try to legislate morals out there, but you take care of you yourself. Not program somebody else, but you take care of you yourself. And that's the gist of J-Juice. It's not something that you ram down someone's throat. It's not something that you sell. You exemplify unification. You exemplify balance. Have a good day.